isn't the key to happiness, but the lack of it can cause some unhappiness in many relationships. How do you make sure you and your partner don't fight about money? Relationship expert Dr. Patty Ann joins us this morning with more. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so why is money the issue? Because that is probably one of the biggest issues that causes problems in marriages and relationships.
It's absolutely the biggest issue, and it's the cause of most divorces. What happens with couples make the assumption that they and their partner are on the same page when it comes to financial goals and financial dreams and desires, and oftentimes that's not the case. So you're starting with a false agreement. So that in and of itself is the platform for the problem.
So first of all, you need to sit down and figure out what your financial goals are with your partner. And you have to make that a priority, a conversation. Don't just assume that you know what's in store.
Absolutely. And what you need to do is you need to communicate very clearly and very specifically what your financial goals and desires are, both as a couple and as an individual. And I have a great example of why it needs to be specific. Okay? It's the springtime, so we're thinking, okay, you might say to your husband, "Hon, I really would like to spruce up the backyard." And he says, "Great, no problem." He's thinking, buy a couple of flowers, throw down some new seed, good to go. She's thinking, rip out that patio, buy new outdoor furniture. And you see,
that's pretty funny.
They think they communicated, but it was not specific enough. So communicate clearly, specifically, and then write it down.
And I think it's interesting, I was telling you in the break, that even if both of your plans are to have a plan and to have a budget, how you get to that point is different, because one person may have been brought up and seen the finances done one way in their home, and another person could have seen it done differently in their home. So it's combining the two ways. Maybe one person paid all the bills, maybe, you know, in another family. It's just figuring it out what works for you, but making sure it's a conversation. That's the biggest thing.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that, Patrice, because the research shows that our concept of how money is viewed and handled is decided by the time we are 12 years old, and we don't even know how that view was framed. So if you don't know if you might know you're a saver or you're a spender, but you don't know how you got there. And then you get into these power and control issues in a relationship. So communicate what your goals are as an individual and as a couple. Write them down, and then together create a budget.
Okay, and the together part, I've heard somebody say that even once you've created the budget and all that, there shouldn't be one person keeping the books and reconciling the monthly statements. That should be both of you doing that, so you both stay in touch with what's going on.
Okay. In theory, that might be true. However, we are way too busy. You know, you can always tell the honeymooners because they're the first 6 months you see them at the grocery store together, you see them at the cleaners together, and then they realize this is insane. Divide and conquer, we can get all the tasks done. So it doesn't make sense for both couples to do the budget together. However, equal open access at all times. So that you know what the money is being spent on.
I like that. Dr. Patty Ann, thank you so much. Well, for more advice from Dr. Patty Ann, log on to our website, foxbaltimore.com/morning, and that'll send you to her website. We also want to know if you have any questions about relationships, because Dr. Patty Ann is going to stick around. She's going to be back to answer those questions. She'll take your calls later this hour. So send us a tweet at Fox Baltimore or post a question on our Facebook page, facebook.com/FoxBaltimore.
Need help with your love life? Well, we can help. Our relationship expert is answering all of your questions. Coming up next, you can give us a call at 410-481-4545. The lines are open right now. Or you can post your question on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/FoxBaltimore. You can also send us a tweet at Fox Baltimore. 9:48 is your time. You're watching Fox 45. Good day, Baltimore.
Is here. Vanessa in Baltimore is our first caller. Good morning, Vanessa.
Yes, good morning.
What's your question?
My question is, how do you get your husband to pitch in with housework if he refuses? We've been married for 8 years, and he always says, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and in the end, he doesn't. So.
Okay, so clearly there's a communication problem going on here, because he is giving lip service to the fact that he knows that you want him to do chores and he's refusing to do it, so it's even beyond passive aggressive. I would sit down with him, not between rooms, and not while you're doing homework with the kids, and not while you're watching the news, and have a very serious conversation with him and look him in the eye and say, I know you say you're going to do it. I need to know when, what day, what time, because you're just giving this lip service. I wasn't born yesterday, and I really feel disrespected, so cut it out.
And that's the big thing of it, disrespected, you feeling that. All right, thank you, Vanessa. Good luck with that. Let's take a look at our Facebook page. Corinne says, how do you end your marriage and still be friends for the sake of the children?
Okay.
That's a tough one.
Great question. That's a great question, and I work with this all the time. I have 3 couples now where I'm doing this. What you need to do is you need to mean when you say, let's put the children first and divorce for the sake of the health of the children. So you might not get everything that you need in this divorce. However, do not use the children as a pawn in a power struggle over who comes out ahead in the separation. And couples will say they put the children first, but they don't actually operationalize that thought. So make sure that you do not use the children as a power play, and you'll be able to be okay with your spouse.
All right, let's go back to our phone lines now. Nikita in Baltimore is on the line. Hi, Nikita.
Hi, how are you?
We are great. What's your question?
I was wondering, my relationship with my boyfriend, actually, we actually have the same birthday and the same age, which is 21, and it's hard to get him to talk to me. So I'm wondering what could I do, to get him to show his emotional side, since guys don't do that.
Okay. Great question. Communication, okay? It determines the overall quality of every relationship you have, your work relationship, your intimate relationship, your relationship with your kids. You need to sit down again with your partner and set it up as a business meeting. Say, we need to sit down, have a date, have a time, have a neutral setting, shut off all distractions, no cell phones, no computers, no laptops, and have a very serious conversation and tell him that you are having a very serious issue with the lack of communication, because what I'm already hearing, even though you haven't said it, is that the intimacy that you feel for him is very much at stake if the communication doesn't improve.
Wow, communication is definitely key. Let's go back to our Facebook page. Tisha wrote in and said, I haven't had a date in 3 years and do not know how I seem to just push men away. How can I get back out there and date again?
Okay, before you can go out and bring somebody into your life, I have a feeling that you really need to pick up a mirror and take a really hard, long look at yourself and see what kind of energy you're giving out, because it sounds like you're feeling down on yourself, and people are not going to be attracted to, quote unquote, a broken person. So I would take a look at myself, increase your self-esteem a little bit, and you'll be able to meet guys that will be good for you.
All right, and we have one more Facebook question we want to get to really quickly. Jessica wrote in and said, what can you do to improve a relationship that has no trust from the other half cheating?
Okay, well, without trust, you don't really have a relationship. You can fix a relationship that's been the subject of infidelity. However, both partners have to be willing to want to fix the problem in the relationship. You can remend that trust, but if your partner doesn't want to, you can't pull that sled all by yourself.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patty Ann, and good luck to all of you all. Good information. Hopefully they put it to work.